Hello and welcome to Sugar, Silk and Stretch, a unique boxing podcast brought to you exclusively by Ace Podcast Nation. My name's Ben Doughty.
I'm Gary Stretch, and we're waiting for the silk.
We are waiting for the Silk. To the best of my knowledge, he is coming. He definitely, that's what I assumed he was coming today. He seemed to say he was coming. So, you know the rules, Silk. If you're late, then what's it? You snooze, you lose. The old
Snooze.
adage. Yeah.
Snooze, you
Uh,
lose.
He'll be here at some point. The only issue with that is that we'll be out of order. He usually goes in the middle, but he doesn't have to go. Let's go with another format this week. What the heck? So, Gary, we all fancy Canelo to do the business last night, and he did. What I've seen the difference of opinion on, some people think he looked very sharp and a consummate technician. Really coming into his own and looks evergreen, and other people were saying, "Nah, he's lost a few steps." Funny enough, a mate of mine called Dave Stewart, who boxed for the British title several years ago against John Thaxton, he actually said he watched it with the sound down, and he thinks Canelo is shot. I don't know. I didn't see it that way personally.
No, I mean, he fought a guy who it was what it was. The guy was decent. He's had a very good record, but he's fought very average opponents. In all honesty,
Yeah,
90% of his career, I think Canelo looked good. He didn't look great. He looked good. Um, I mean, he looked as good as he needed to be. It was, I think, a little closer than he would have liked. He could have done a demolition job, but he didn't. But he took care of business.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good
what's up,
evening.
Silk?
Good
Um,
morning.
What's going on?
what does it say now? Twice as sweet as it just says twice as sweet as chocolate milk.
Same
He
old.
has to mess about with it. It was just all
That's
right the
why
other
it's late. He messes around. That's why it's late.
Yeah.
He tweedles on the site and
He's
turns.
like that kind of disruptive student who's smart but just doesn't play ball. He doesn't realise it's his own future he's ruining, not mine. But
Our future.
The good,
Yeah.
the good thing is it bothers Ben, so it's a win.
yeah,
Ben,
Yeah.
don't you understand that he knows how to just tick your boat a little bit? He knows how
I'm
to
here.
tick.
I'm here simply to annoy Ben. If anything,
I simply
Oh,
and I'm here to watch and enjoy. And Ben
Yeah,
Ben
well-
merely just takes it like a duck to water and
yeah.
it rolls back.
We,
I wanna-
we, we was Silk. We were saying. I thought Canelo looked good last night. I thought he looked sharp.
Yeah.
I thought he looked smart. I thought it was a nice performance. We watched his last fight last year against Jamel Charlo together in Atlantic City, and
Yeah.
I said, "Look how pedestrian and predictable he looked," and you agreed. I
Yeah.
thought he looked better last night. I mean, I really
Yeah.
liked that knockdown, the left hook, the right uppercut, and then the left hook to the
Yeah.
body on the way down. I thought
Yeah.
Canelo looked on point last night. Other people are trying to say that he's lost a few steps, and
Yeah, I didn't
how'd
see
you
that.
it?
Yeah, I
No.
mean, he looked incredibly young. Like the youth was in his face and in his features.
Yeah.
I thought that that uppercut was beautifully timed, and that's one thing about him. He has incredible timing, Canelo, and his knowledge of the punches. Like he understands where he pays attention to his opponent's hands. He knows where they're all at all time, and so he's
Yeah.
able to avoid. He's able to avoid. He's able to avoid the fist, the punches, and then he's also able to make you pay. Like reaches never seems to be like we're talking about reach advantages and things like that. Of that
Yeah,
nature.
I put a comment on your Facebook status about that. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't exist with him. Reach doesn't
No.
exist with him.
I
because
love the way he jabs
intelligent.
at the same time as an opponent. He knows how to jab at the same time as an opponent and have his jab land.
Yeah,
Sometimes he jabs and he initiates. Other times he waits for them to jab and he's like, boom.
I'll tell you what the fight did. It showed the public and that you can't go off prior opponents like styles make fights. If you look to the way in which Munguia destroyed Ryder and then Canelo, I mean, well beat him up, but didn't destroy him. And then you would think, well, he did a better job, but then he gets in with Canelo. He looked like a little boy against Canelo, really.
Would you like to detail how the sky is blue and the sun is rather hot as well? While these profound revelations are being busted out. for a grateful audience. No.
I don't understand that statement, Ben. You don't think my point was a valid one?
No, come on. But it is
too.
long since been established that triangle theories are irrelevant to boxing. You were so wise and so esteemed that I'm surprised. You must be breaking it down for any new audience members we've got who are not so okay with it.
You, Ben, for you.
Yeah. It was for my benefit. Okay, well, honestly, don't do it on my account, Gary. No, come on. We know that doesn't. And also, I thought there were similar fights. It's just that Ryder was more tenderized, as you put it, the other day.
No, I think there's a very fundamental point to what I'm saying is that, if you looked at the Ryder fight with Munguia, he looked like, he just did a number on him, beat him up, smashed him to bits. And then he gets in with Canelo. You'd think, he didn't, to me, look in any way dangerous with the Canelo. He just looked like a kid.
He got battered. It was a wonder he was in distance.
I think I pointed a little bit to that when I saw the way in which he shook Canelo's hand. It's almost like he was shaking the hand of a deity or something. You know what I mean? He did it with so much respect.
Ryder or Munguia.
Munguia, when he shook Canelo's hand, he was doing it with such deference that it almost, you know what I mean? Like it physicalized how he was feeling emotionally about fighting Canelo. And I know Canelo means a lot of things to him. I'm sure this is the biggest paycheck he's ever seen, right? So he's getting that, as well as the opportunity to fight, someone who's legitimately a modern day legend, I guess, now these days.
It all started at the weigh-in when Canelo put a gentle hand on his shoulder when they did the face-off, and it was like, don't worry, kid. You'll be fine.
Well, there's that too, and then there's also the fact that he gave him respect, so he felt like he had to respect him back.
But the thing is, what I will say,
mind game. Yeah.
What I will say though is that Munguia did come to win and let his hands go. He didn't get despondent. He didn't get gun shy. He didn't swallow it. I mean, look at Charlo. Charlo just went into survival mode and brought nothing after a couple of rounds. Decided he couldn't win. Tasted a bit of power and was like, "Forget this. This is me out."
Tell you what,
Munguia kept going. Kept throwing.
I tell you what's fascinating about this sport. When Munguia fought Ryder, he looked like he had big, heavy shots and powerful and strong. When he fought Canelo, with Canelo's distance, timing, he looked like he was trying to throw whatever he could, but it was like irrelevant. It just shows the levels to the game.
Yeah,
and also, Gary, as well as
the defensive attributes of Canelo were off the chart. I thought they're really beautiful. His timing, he saw the shots coming. He's turning his head. He's rolling. So nothing significtell really.
And when you do catch him, he's got a great chin as well. When you do,
catch him. And that's a big thing. He looked. Tell you what he looked like last night, or rather, not what he looked like. What he didn't look like. He didn't look vulnerable at all. Canelo. He looked strong. He looked fine. I'm sure he can get up for one more if he needs to fight.
And that could change in his next fight too, though. Like he may not look as strong depending on the opponent and the opponent's attributes. You know what I mean? Like if he were to fight Bivol again, I don't think it's going to be any different, if not worse, than the first.
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be.
No, but I think if he fights Benavidez, I think they can't say he was a completely shocked Canelo based on last night. They're going to have to, if Benavidez beats him, he may not beat a prime Canelo, but he's beat a decent Canelo. He's not beat It's not a shock Canelo on the side at all. You know what I mean? He's not. Still got something left in the tank, and I think he will absolutely get up for Benavidez if he has to.
You think he'll beat Benavidez?
I think he'll destroy Benavidez. I don't rate
and we've got to wait till he's going to fight him first. There's no indication he's going to fight him whatsoever.
Yeah, he'll fight him now because I think he'll go to bed and think, you know what, let's do this thing and retire.
He did say, like he did point it to Benavidez outside the ring after the fight.
He did.
And he was kind of like, you're next kind of thing.
Why didn't the other guy jump in the ring? The other guy looked a bit differential, just nodded at him or just looked a bit embarrassed. Why didn't Benavidez jump in that ring and say, yeah, let's go?
I tell you what was a little bit of exposure on Canelo was when he said, will you fight him? He went, if the money's right. That gives Benavidez far more credit than he should give him. He said, the money was not an issue with this guy. Why has it got to be an issue with Benavidez?
Do you know what figure he put on it? Do you know what the figure he put on it was? $200 million. What planet does he live on? Planet Canelo.
But the thing is, I guess you know what? There's nothing better than knowing as a fighter. Fighters for generations have not known this, and that's why fighters today get an incredible amount of money compared to what was happening even just 20 years ago. And that's they understand their value. They understand the market of boxing. They understand the reach, and they understand their value and what they mean to the pie. And we just didn't have that in all the times like when you and I were doing it, Gary. We just didn't have that. We thought $100,000 was like that. Wow, oh my God, this is insane. But the promoters managed to like keep that separate from the fighters. The fighters had no knowledge of that kind of stuff. It's only when Sugar Ray Leonard started coming around and saying, "This is what's available to you." That's the only time when fighters started to say, "Hey, wait a minute," and start questioning the theory of money's
economics. Yeah.
If you look at in our day, Michael, it was very limited networks too. If you're not with a certain promoter with a certain network, you're not getting seen. So there was no negotiation. Whereas now there's so many outlets. If you can't do a deal with Eddie Hearn, you can go to another, stream.
Yeah, there are many ways to do it. You can get out there, and when you say networks, this is what I also mean. Like on NBC, on Sports World, on CBS Morning Boxing, or whatever it was. These guys, the kind of eyes that they attracted to, like, boxing was so well watched. It's free TV, and the advertisers are paying premium dollar to be on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the Nielsen ratings here in the States for boxing were just insane in the 80s.
Do they still have those?
No, boxing during the week.
Because they always talk about it when I read the Ring magazine back in the day.
Yeah, but they don't have that anymore. But see, and that's the thing. Like, that's how many fighters have been ripped off. Like, you would get on a network fight, and they pay you your first time $20,000, $25,000.
And then it's funny, you said you thought like 100 grand was like Shangri-La, hallelujah. Whereas many years later, you get a guy like Dylan White turning down $5 million to fight Anthony Joshua for three world championship belts. And I remember Barry Hearn saying one time, he said, in my day, and he's very much talking about Gary's day and Gary's territory here, era, he said, they were slaves. They were slave contracts. He said these days, he said nowadays, this is a few years ago, he said Dylan White is on a fight by fight basis with Matchroom, and he calls the shots. He goes, in my day when I was at the top, he said they were more like slaves to which went down badly because Dylan White is Afro-Caribbean of Afro-Caribbean descent.
Wait, Dillian White is?
Dillian White is, why? Does that surprise you?
Why do they call him White if he's Afro?
I knew you were coming with some super lame pun about his surname, even though you know full well what colour he is, Silk, and you probably know he's from Jamaica. That was a good one. Very well done. Well done.
No, but really, that's always going to be an issue. It's an issue in everything. We know it. Done deal.
So, has anybody got anything else they want to say about Canelo or Munguia before we move on to something else? I mean, I think we agree. Dave Stewart, my mate at home, I was telling you about this, Gary. My mate Dave Stewart, who boxed for the British lightweight title back in the early 2000s or about 2010, maybe it was. He said he thought Canelo looked shot. He watched it in a bar in Thailand, and he's with the sound off, and he said that he thinks Canelo looks shot to bits. And the commentary that he's since watched, he said that the highlights were being way too complimentary to him, but we don't see it that way. We thought he looked good.
I think you have to give Munguia a little bit of credit, like 43 wins against anybody. It's still a good record. He's still obviously very, decent fighter. So, I mean, Canelo never when you put someone's on the slide, it means they can't get off. Then the timing's not great. They look like they're vulnerable when they're taking shots. None of the slide
red flags. No, they weren't there.
No red flags, really. He just looked like he didn't look like like prime best ever, but he looked very competent, strong. He looked small against Munguia, which was shocking. First round, he looked like half the size. And what Silk said, he was very good at dealing with size and distance and timing.
Yeah.
He dealt.
And I think he was against an opponent, I said it before the fight, that was likely to flatter him and suit him stylistically, which he did.
You've got to remember, everyone who fights Canelo absolutely gets up for it. Like, and for him, it must be difficult to keep getting up for these jobs. Like, you know, of course he's got to defend his title and he can't embarrass himself. So he's got a certain level of, you know, risk. But these guys, they're getting up. This is the best of the best. So he's fighting guys really out of their skin against him, and he's making it pretty easy, really.
Either that, or they're ultimately too respectful and they're not willing to do the dirty work. You know what I mean? Like they kind of dig down and do that because, again, you're giving deference to the king kind of thing. I'm not going to do that because the referee or the crowd may react a certain way, and I'm not supposed to do that to the king, kind of, you know what I mean? Those kinds of things, issues come into it as well.
That's why you're going to love the way Lloyd Huntington came and just smashed Donald Curry from pillar to post and had no respect for him in the build-up at all.
Yeah,
that was fantastic. He had to earn him off in ignorance of the whole occasion. Brilliant.
Mark my words now. Benavidez will fight Canelo. He'll get destroyed, and then he'll say, "I had trouble at the weight because he's gone up to fight heavier," and he'll come back down, and he'll say, "I have trouble with the weight." You watch the whole story pan out.
You heard it here first. Raymond Hales would like to know what we think of Gervonta Tank Davis. He says he really gets on my nerves. Do you rate him? Value your opinion. I do.
I think he gets on my nerves, and I think he's not even a quarter of the fighter Floyd was. I think he's good, and I think he's dangerous.
What about him gets on your nerves?
I think
the way he freezes in mid-sentence is really annoying.
That's because I think we have a low rent. Don't we have business a low rent system we're on? We're not paying.
No, it's what gave you that idea? Gary's back. Sorry, Gary, you froze there.
I'd say I think Tank is good. I think he's extremely dangerous. That. I think he will get it. I think he will. I think he's not in Mayweather's league. Will never be.
But
and I think that
nobody said anything about Mayweather.
No. But I'm just saying. I'm comparing to everyone's saying he's the best. This, that. No, I don't. I think he's good. But I don't think he's anything like what he's. Nothing can be compared with the greats at this stage.
I like him. He's probably my favourite active fighter, actually. I don't feel emotional about today's fighters, but Tank's probably my favourite.
I don't like his
as long as I don't get caught up in his story, his personal stories and stuff like that. I really look at him for the ability that he is. I look at him for his talent, like superficial. His talent, what he does when he's in the ring.
That's me as well. I couldn't give a damn about his character.
I don't hear any other stories going on about his life, personal life, all of that. I mean, they're there, they exist, but I just... You know what I mean? I look at him for when he gets in the ring and what he does, and I see him for the ability that he is, and I think he's an incredible talent. And
I do, and he can punch like the devil too. He's super smart. He's slick. He can punch like the devil. I like Tank, and I just think I like to see. He's one of those guys I confidently predict against pretty much anybody within a radius of him. With the except, I mean, Shakur Stevenson is a really good fighter,
and he certainly isn't like the gentleman said. He said he's no Floyd, but I think he comes like fighters fight what their personalities are, and I think
exactly.
He uses what he does defensively. He does for the with the intent of winning by knockout. Like again, like that rule I was saying before. Like your intent is always to knock your opponent out. Ultimately, that's what it is. So he's giving the fan base the quality that they want to see. That's what's exciting about him. I think that's what people like about him so much. He's so honestly a fighter that he's not looking to do the distance. Like, at some point, some fighters, they turn the engine off. They say, listen, I keep doing this and I get hit, I get hurt. I don't know, Ben, if Mungia did that last night, at some point he was like, this isn't working too well for me, so I'm going to go the distance. I'm going to just, shift it into
I think he just kept bringing it. I think he really tried, even in the last round. I think Mungia...
No, he definitely tried, but he didn't swing for the bleachers, like that kind of...
Well, you've got to give a bit of respect to somebody that you can't hit a really good fighter just like that anyway. You ain't going to hit him if if you just run at him.
Oh, but what Silk's saying, you didn't see him overextend to try. He just kept going the same. He doesn't have another gear, Mongear.
I thought he threw a lot of punches last night. Especially, I thought he really let his hands go at times.
Yeah, but
really...
that's not an extra gear, Ben. That's just more punches in the same
gear.
Yeah,
because he's a high volume fighter anyway. That's why I bet on both fighters to land 150 punches with Canelo to win and got 11-4. I wish I put the farm on it. Only drawback there is I don't have a farm, but you know, it was a shame.
I think Tank is very good. I think he's good for the game, but I don't think he's elite, and I think it'll be proven pretty soon when he fights.
Oh no, Tank is elite. Tank is absolutely elite.
Oh, Ben, don't state facts. Just
well, all right.
No, I'm gonna hold you on this because you always have a way in which you think you can dominate with your fucking knowledge. You can't. He is not elite yet. Tell me one elite fighter he's beat. One.
Well, he beat your man Ryan Garcia.
Tell me one elite fighter he's beat. One. Forget Ryan Garcia.
What? I'm not allowed to.
Tell me one elite fighter he's beat.
Garcia. You said one.
No. That's forget Garcia. Other than Garcia, but by the way, he was not ahead when he beat Garcia. Burley. So let's just forget.
He was ahead.
All right, whatever. Give me one fucking elite fighter. Give me one elite fighter before you shout your mouth.
Well, you want another elite fighter?
Give me an elite fighter who he's beat. Mayweather could give you 15. Canelo could give you 15.
Mayweather's over 20 years, though.
Let's just make a point here. Let's make a point. But before you jump on people, shout at them. Yes, he is elite. Fucking prove it. Tell me who he's beat elite.
Well, I just think he's an elite talent. And
there you go. Not done it yet, right?
Well, if you compare it to Floyd Mayweather, no.
No, when he's done it, state the fact. Not now.
You think he's elite, Silk?
I think he's an elite talent. I think he's an incredible talent. And I think if he goes up, if he does get the opportunity to fight these guys, I can't see him not winning. I mean, he's going to thump everyone. He's at lightweight still, right?
Yeah. All I'm saying, Ben, is you're only as good as your record. Let's see him fight. The elite right now is Shakur Stevenson.
Well, how is Shakur elite and Tank isn't?
Well, no, this is the best of the group.
Not in terms of ability. I think Tank
what I'm saying is the people that everyone's talking about at that weight, Shakur, right? Let him beat Shakur. Then I'll start thinking, well, maybe this is something. Who else is at the top?
But lightweight.
You're only as good as we've all had this argument. You're only as good as your opponents allow you to be, right? Like you can't become elite. Like they all keep saying now, Tyson Fury, who's pretty much done everything he can, but who's he beat? So if he beats Usyk, now you can say.
But you know when they say Tyson Fury was not an elite fighter.
No, but I've read so much to saying who's he beat. So like Anthony Joshua is the same. Like they've got to have a sustained like. If you look at Canelo,
Joshua's got a great resume. Joshua has a great resume. He's fought more than anybody else in the division.
Yeah, but let's talk about.
Well, you were talking about the opponent's talent.
What I'm saying is, they're saying now Tyson Fury, who's beat everyone who's been put in front of him, but when he beat Wilder, his amazing result got diminished when Wilder got beat by Park, and everyone said he wasn't as good as they thought he was.
I don't think it did, though, Gary. I think people said
Wilder sure it hurt him a little bit.
Wilder was shot, they said. That was all. This was
right.
Years ago.
But Ben, Gary is he's defecting over to the side. You see what's happening now? I like this, Gary. This is great. So you don't really feel like Fury is going to get the job done against Usyk now, right?
No, I think he will, but I think that he will not get the credit he deserves until he does, because he needs another name, they say. He's beat Klitschko, arguably. Let me finish, please. He beat Klitschko, arguably, at the end of his career. Yes, we know that. He beat Wilder, who now has had a fight with Parker, who's been beat several times and got demolished. And although he may have been shot because of Fury, they're saying maybe Wilder was as good as we thought. This is the negative people. Now they're saying if he beats Usyk, then he got to give him the credit. But if he doesn't, he will go down in history as not a supreme talent, just a good heavyweight. But this is what I'm saying. You're as good as the people you beat. I'm not saying that they're right, wrong. It's just the way it is. What I am saying is, I think Tank is a talent. I don't think he's in the elite yet. He's got to fight some great fighters. That's it.
He's certainly elite when you think about fighters of today. When
I
you
would
when you
say
think
he's
of
one of
the
the best
fighters
six
that
fighters in the world.
The elite fighters that we look at, Ray Leonard, elite. Floyd
No,
Mayweather.
that's historical.
No,
We're
no,
talking
no. We're
about
not talking
now.
about the greatness. We're talking about just
Ben,
the
you're
fighters here.
talking Ben, you're talking about cutting people off. You jump all over me. Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran. The fucking resume is insane. Hagler, resume insane. Hearns, resume insane.
But I agree with
Tank,
you.
hang on, Tank. Don't put him in that category like you
Are
just
you
did.
fucking crazy? Listen, man, hang on a second. I'm not putting him anywhere near that. I'm talking about
You
when
just
you said
said,
he's not
I
elite.
said the elite.
If you'd have meant historical global,
I
I'd have been
said
with
the
you.
elite, which is there's only one elite. There's not
If that's
two.
what you mean by the elite, then let me stand down off that. No way has he got any right to be
How
mentioned
many
in the same
elites
breath.
is there in the world, Ben?
I'm talking about active currently.
Are
When
you
you said he's
saying
not
Ray
an elite
Leonard's the
fighter, I
elite,
said he
elite,
is.
or is the elite? Is the elite? Is
Well,
the elite?
we need to qualify our elites going forward then, because
Oh no,
I'm not arguing that point, not at all.
Everyone's talking about Tank like he's this fucking, like he's one
No,
of the
he's
boys.
in
Ray
the
Leonard.
grand scheme of things,
He's
the
not
grand
yet.
scheme
He's
of
got
the
to
history
prove
of
it.
boxing, he's not
He has
great in the
potential.
history of boxing. No, he is not great in the history of boxing.
So
In
no,
today's current game, yes, he's very, very talented.
potentially, yes.
Yeah, you're right about that.
But yeah, I would say, if I don't like pound for pound lists, but if someone were to compile one or ask me to compile one, I might have Tank in that top six somewhere.
But who's he fought, Ben? I'm asking you. Give me 3 good names.
Okay, so he's fought Ryan Garcia, yeah, Rolando Romero, Isaac Cruz. They're all guys who are pretty much in the shake-up.
Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz is real. He brings it real.
Yeah. So and Tank, so I think Tank is one of the best fighters in the world today. The how matters as well as the who against, and I need to acknowledge that sometimes. I
get bagged on for being honest. I got bagged on for saying give Ryan Garcia due process. Never said he was innocent. I just said give him due process, then we can jump on him. That's all I said. Never said he was innocent. I said give him due process. Let's see what happens. If he's guilty,
but you were.
No, I just didn't jump on the kid when I have no knowledge like no one else does. Everyone wants to fucking bag on him.
So the B sample, came back, right? The B sample came back. Did the B sample come back on Ryan? I think it did, from what I heard last night. And they, am I wrong, Ben?
Well, say again. Say that again, Silk. I was looking at the comments from the fans.
Yeah, no, we should definitely read off some of the comments too, because they're really good.
But go on. What was your point?
But the B sample of Ryan Garcia, did it not come back already last night? I heard.
I didn't hear that, Silk. I must admit. So I'll have a check. I can have a look.
I'm not going to say anything until.
But let me ask you, boys. The B sample is the same as it's just pissing in 2 cups, right?
Yeah. They cut it in half, and they basically give a urine sample, and they'll make it into 2 and say just to check, because the idea is if one of them got contaminated somehow, the other one you've still got, but it's the same sample. Yeah.
So what my it's not an argument. My observation is, if he has a substance in his body, I had 2. My first thing was like the obvious. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this an injectable? Is it an oral? If it's an injectable, you bang to rights pretty much, right?
Yeah.
If it's an oral, maybe it could be oral means it could be also powder form. So it could be there could be some skullduggery involved, or he could have taken it. I don't know. But if it's an injectable, then it's pretty obviously he's guilty. No one's injecting me, doesn't know about it. And if someone's injecting you better know what they're injecting. So
exactly. No, 100% I agree on that. But
if it's an oral and
somebody's sprinkling it on your cornflakes, then that's an issue too. How do you not?
Because you know what bothers me? Everyone jumped on me saying that's ridiculous. Is it ridiculous when we saw publicly, everyone saw the referee being bribed by Bill Haney?
Well,
if you go to that level, can you not?
You infer he was bribed because he was favouring Haney in various ways.
No, they said there was a video.
He said Harvey Dawes was bribed.
Hang on, I want to see what Gary's saying.
I'm saying I read the news and I watch YouTube and there was a massive piece about they had the recording of the referee with Haney. He didn't realise they were on film being recorded, where there was some something went down in regard to favor.
But that
Haynes.
hasn't been established, has it? That's not established fact. That's the first I've heard of it. I'll have a look into it. But
Yeah,
I don't.
Have a look
that's
online
not-
now. The referee bribe. It's a big story, and it's apparently. I just saw it, but I thought if it's true, how far does he have to go if you're bribing a ref?
Yeah, but this has not been established. Let me just check this. Harvey Doc bribed, right? Okay, I'm checking it now.
Tell me what it
Talk amongst
says.
yourselves. Keep talking, guys. So,
Tell me
people
because
watching.
I was surprised. But I said, if that is the case, then how far do people go?
You know,
So this
is one of the most painful things about the internet. It gives everybody gravity.
Sorry, but there's nothing, literally nothing. Harvey Doc bribe, there's nothing. There's a few YouTube videos, which I'm obviously not going to watch right now, where someone's saying blah, 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 but there's no news reports. There's no news reports at all.
There's no way he was bribed. No, there's no way. I just couldn't take that as true.
I think it's very important we don't have an agenda and we don't root for an outcome one way or the other. I know obviously we all had this little tit for tat thing going on because Gary's is beating us right now in the predictions league, and then this is one way of getting that reversed. So there's a little bit of horse skin in the game.
But wait a minute, you're saying us. You're saying Gary's beating us. He's got 2 on me and he's got 8 on you. So he's not really thumping you. Right?
Listen, he's winning, right? He is winning.
Regardless he's ahead right now. He's ahead of.
And he doesn't. And your figures are wrong, but I'm not going to break it down for you. Your figures were wrong then, but I won't break it down for you. We know what they are.
Way ahead of you, Silk. Sadly.
Yeah.
No, you're.
He has the same number of wins as me. Me and Silk have both got 12 correct, regardless how many I've got wrong. We've both got the same number correct.
What do you mean,
Gary
regardless of how many you got wrong? You got 5. You got 5 more wrong than I had.
Not 5 more, 4 more.
Oh, semantics. Sorry.
And there's 4 more that I took part in than you as well. So percentage-wise, I'm actually closer.
Well, Gary has just got more wins than me because he chose more. He chose more than I did. I don't have as many as him. That's
true. Yeah, just by 1, he's gone 1 more than you, which is a bit paltry. But regardless of that, the bigger issue, more kind of relevant to world boxing, I would say, is. I think it's important we don't root for an outcome. With yourself, Gary, I think you were saying things which were a little bit kind of.
No, Ben, I was not. I was not. All I said is.
I didn't say what they were yet. A little bit something.
Well, you can't. Are you a little bit pregnant? You're either pregnant or you ain't.
I said you were saying things that were a little bit, and I was waiting for my adjective, and you said I didn't. I didn't say things that were a little
all I said is, Ben. All I said is, look, it's so easy to jump on someone, right? I understand fully. I've never done when I boxed. I don't cheat. I believe in pure honesty and do the sport. In people's lives matter. They can die. So I don't believe that it's even should be considered. But lately, Ben, as the sports develop, why more and more situations are happening now? Is now if you go into any supplement store, which is on the shelf, apparently legal, there's more supplements. So athletes are taking more. As the sport's got more, advanced, people are taking all kinds of shit. Not trying to cheat, just trying to get the best they can. There are some supplements that shouldn't be on the shelves.
They're supposed to know that, and you get as a trainer, you get a list of all the banned substances.
I understand that.
Under control. They tell you every month.
Ben, I understand that, but I'm also know that people are human. I also know that fighters have people who do the jobs. They have strength and conditioning coach. If they give them a shake, they trust them. They can't chemically break it down. Look at the small. So people make mistakes. It happens. So I'm not defending. I'm just saying, okay, the likelihood that he cheated is higher than he didn't. But give the kid a fair chance. If he cheated, throw the book at him. If he didn't, but just when everyone jumps on someone immediately, just give him a break. That's all. Let's see if it comes out real. He cheated. But it's like everyone. It's like
I have more of an issue with him not making a weight.
No. Listen, Ben. The problem, guys. The problem with boxing today is the same problem with society. Like it's rampant narcissism. And people hate to lose. They don't know, like for the last century, all we've been focused on is like the winning. Everyone's gonna win. If you lose, you're garbage and all the rest of that kind of stuff. That kind of ethos, that kind of theory that everyone's operating on is absolutely wrong. So nobody wants to take a L anymore. And if they do take an L, there's an excuse, there's a reason for it. Even if this person isn't getting physically hurt by someone else losing, it makes them look bad. So they're making up excuses for them, and there's all this, it's absolutely a mess. It needs to be.
With the amount of publicity and the attention based on PEDs in the last 2 years, respectfully, if a fighter like Ryan Garcia, with the most public fight in the last 10 years, maybe, with this fucking Haney became, if he's taking PEDs, he's got to be mentally challenged, because it's so obvious you're going to get fucked. And everything
but you said that the other night, Gary, but it's not necessarily true, because
but it really,
I am told they've got experts to help them.
It would be very, like, all of the things he did, it would slap him in the face, which it seems to have. It's like, please, you got to be a retard to fucking take PEDs.
You say that, Gary, but I'm told that they've got really good chemists and pharmacists who help them cheat the tests. Other guys have said that guy that was linked to Conor Benn said you have to be an idiot to fail a drug test, or we're getting really bad advice.
Yes,
you have to be a pharmacist that have to be an idiot. So when people say, why would he do it knowing he's going to get tested? That doesn't cut it, because they all fail when they're getting tested. That's the only way we find them out. But they think they can beat the test. They do.
What bothers me, honestly, about this, and it will come out, and I'm sure, it's the character of the human. Like, if you think you've got to take fucking drugs to beat someone, it's a sad day of affairs for me. You shouldn't be in the game. Yeah. So I'm all for kick him out and ban him for life, because it's a joke. Sure, I don't like the whole concept of it. No. If you're a bodybuilder, like, let's say you're a home bodybuilder or a kid who wants to get his body right, he's not in competition with someone else, he's not trying to kill anyone. He just wants to get physically better, and he needs a little bit of testosterone, a little bit. Why not?
Yeah.
But when you're fighting,
competition, if it's not competition, But if you're entering into competition where other people's existence and are attached to it, then there needs to be there needs to be rules and laws, just like there are in society. There needs to be in competition. There are rules and laws, and there's cheating, and cheating means a certain thing, and that's undeniable, and it goes on forever. But Sean B was saying some interesting stuff there. Sugar, you pick that up?
Yeah, he said that the strength and conditioning coaches usually sort the PEDs out. He said they do at our gym. And he also says Larry Olabamiwo painted this very accurately. I imagine he means recently when he appeared on Tris Dixon's podcast. Larry, I mentioned him the other night, Gary. I know you know him as well, because there's a bit of acting crossover as well. He went to LA and he was looking to get in the movies like yourself. And but in any case, he tested positive back in 2000 and God knows 2013 or something like that, I believe it was, against Sam Sexton. He fought at the York Hall. He got popped for EPO afterwards. He said that he got it while he was in LA. You remember Freddie's right hand man, Gary? Remember Freddie's conditioning guy? He said he got it off him, the EPO. Next minute he gets popped. Initially, I mentioned this the other night, Silk. He had the B sample tested and fought his corner and told everybody he was innocent. Then the B sample came back Thursday, and he said to me, "Oh, by the way, I did take the EPO." He left, a bit like a, silly me. I was just trying to get away with it. Then he, what he got? How he got his license back? Because he got a 4-year ban because he was nothing special. Then he grassed up a fighter called Craig Windsor Jr. from Glasgow. And the interesting thing about how he grassed him up was Craig Windsor Jr. didn't fail any tests or nothing. He just messaged Larry on Facebook saying, "Do you know where I can get some gear?" And Larry supposedly said no and reported him straight to UCAD, if you can believe that. Can you imagine that? And then, so Craig Windsor Jr. got banned. He was just an average pro. He wasn't like a world beater or nothing like that. And then Larry got his ban commuted. And then I think it was the Guardian said, "Oh, the message is if you sing like a canary, you can get your ban commuted." Where is the morality? Where is the moral compass in boxing? That way, he got back, and his first comeback fight was in the heavyweight international prize fighter. That who won it? Trying to think who won it that year. I know James Toney was in it, and Jason Gavin, and we lost to him. But like I say, he got his license back because of that. That was Larry, and do you know what? He admitted. in his full and frank admissions, he admitted to taking 13 different PEDs. Like he was a
I would
walking
agree
pharmacy.
with you, but there are way too many names for me to follow that plot. It was a circuitous route that I just couldn't follow.
Okay, well, basically, the essential bullet points are heavyweight, former prospect, got popped for EPO, initially denied it, then admitted for 12 other substances to be taken into consideration, grassed up another fighter, snitched on him, and then got his license back on that basis, then entered highly prestigious tournament. He didn't win the tournament, but yeah, so
much better.
Yeah,
much better. That all makes sense.
Yeah, Michael Sprott, you're right. Yeah. So that was the thing, and Gary, you know what he believes? His whole premise was that everybody's on it. He said, you remember Tommy Morrison said you can't compete in the heavyweight division if you're not on PEDs. You can't do it.
Tony Morrison, the fighter, the
Tommy
writer.
Morrison. Tommy.
Tommy Morrison. Oh, I think he's a Tony Morrison. The right.
I mean, it's a strange time for boxing. As sport advances and as science advances, it's like what's important is that these kids have a fundamental background but a lot of them come from no backgrounds. They come from like no parenting, but it's like, where are the fundamentals of right, wrong, injustice? Like now it's all result basis, let's just get the win, like you say. I don't think I think, and we're in a fast world of, money, result, and the foundations are forgotten. And but it's also, you can imagine, I panic around sometimes to get ready for this podcast once a week or twice a week, and I'm sometimes busy. Can you imagine the lives of someone like a Ryan Garcia who's got so much shit going on? You hire a strength and conditioning coach. You say, do your fucking job. You don't double read into everything and test it. He does what he does. If they get it wrong and they take a substance that they shouldn't, that's oral, not injectable, that it's in something that it shouldn't be.
Well, first of all, why is a strength and conditioning guy doing that?
Because they get results. It's like if you're a plumber and if you're a builder and you bring in the scaffold, the guy who does the foundation, everyone wants to be the best at what they do, get results. So these strength and conditioning coach, if he does an incredible job with Ryan Garcia, he's going to get more people and more fighters, and he's got his resume. And so they're trying to do the best they can for the fighters, get them in this best condition, strength. That's their job. So it's like the more good fighters they end up working for, the more money they make. So they want to do their job well. Are they ignorant not to read the labels that they shouldn't be? But can they make mistakes, and can the fighters pay? I'm sure it can happen. All I'm saying is, like the first thing I did say is it oral? Is it injectable? And it's oral. So I said, if it can be in something, and maybe the kid doesn't know, I don't know, but we'll see. But I think people can make mistakes, or people can do it purposely. Someone who doesn't, I don't know. We'll see. But at least let due process take its course. That was all. He would be retarded to be, I think.
Wouldn't they all?
Because also principally it's just wrong. So it's just wrong. And especially when you've got someone like Haney, like the whole essence of it turns me off. I know for a fact, I looked at Haney. I know he struggles at the weight a little bit, like we all do. Like it's not easy for Haney to make the weight. And it is unfair that someone somewhat, pushes himself to the limit to get to the weight, and you come in over laughing and joking. Then we find out on PEDs that is a complete piss take. So it would really,
no pun intended, right?
Yeah, it's a really would diminish someone's character to do that to someone. And I feel it hard to believe he's that bad as a person. But we'll see. I hope not, but we'll see. But like I said, if it's an oral thing that can be a pill, it's also, I don't overlook the fact that he has a lot of fucking enemies. People can be paid.
He's gone down the conspiracy theory route. He thinks Victor Conte has orchestrated this. Scoot Malinowski, you know something?
It can happen, Ben. It can. You know, it can happen.
I know, but
You can't give it legs just because it can happen. There are
No,
many things
yeah.
that can happen.
Well, and
And-
with a normal person, no. But with Ryan Garcia, who's upsetting the world, he's
I don't know if he's.
I don't think
upsetting
anyone
them.
cares what he says. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone in the unboxing cares what the fuck he says about
well, they're
anything.
certainly right about it, Ben.
Only boxing writers. I don't see anybody else in the mainstream media saying this guy is dangerous. I mean, he must be silenced with Ostarine rumors.
Yeah.
I don't see that at all.
Yeah.
The boxing people talk about him. He's not. I
Over
mean,
here
he's
in the-
pretty
over
well.
here in
He's
the
got a big
States,
following.
What's this
Socially,
question, Ben?
intellectually,
Ben?
everything about him.
I'll read it here. Gary, were you ever going to fight Ian Chandler when you were learning your trade as a pro? As you were both from St. Helens. If so, what do you think would have happened?
I'd have knocked him spark out. I know it.
Yeah. Next question, please.
Oh, is this Ian? Are you related to Eleanor?
He was a mate of mine, Ian Chandler. He was a tough kid.
Yeah.
No,
he
I
was a
meant
tough
Ian
kid, and,
Whitby.
he was a good lad, but we never fought. But he was very. George Collins fought him and sparked him in one round, so that'll give you an idea of the levels.
Yeah, although as we've discussed tonight,
We can't. Yes, but
Yeah.
it gives you.
See, I'm always going to be that thorn in your flesh, Gary. You can't. You got
No,
to get
he's
up
in
fucking
my
early in the
club.
morning.
He was in my gym, so I'd sparred with him. It was not an issue. I don't think he would have took it himself, but maybe he would. But
No,
would not have been not even a competition in my.
In any case, gentlemen, at 12:30 roughly UK time tomorrow, so earlier for you, Michael, and a bit late for you, Gary, at the minute. Inoue Inoue defends his undisputed super bantamweight championship of the world versus Mexican southpaw Luis Neri. I've looked a little bit, mainly today, at Neri. I had not seen a lot of him before. I watched a couple of his fights today, the previous fights. His fight with Brandon Figueroa, which was a few years ago. His last fight against a guy whose name escapes me, and his fight before that, which was a war against someone called Horvanesian or something like that, that was out in California. He looks like it's going to be target practice to me for Inoue. This guy's a southpaw, right, who likes to do the shoulder defense, but he's kind of a come-forward brawler. He throws a lot of arcs and loops. He's very hittable. He hasn't got a great hand speed or anything like that, and I just don't see any way that Inoue is not going to chin him at some point.
If he's getting into wars already, if he's getting into wars, he's not going to last Inoue. That's not the kind of fighter that's going to beat an Inoue. No way.
You seen much of Neri, Gary? You seen him at all?
No. Now Inoue is someone I think is way ahead of Tank as far as
fair play. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I think he's
how do you see that? How do you? Because
he's achieved much more. I agree with Gary on that.
He fought fighters in different divisions, but you don't know the capacity of those fighters that he fought. So how do you say he's that much more gifted than Davis? You can't.
You haven't seen it.
I didn't say he's more gifted. I think he's achieved
qualify that on the guys that he fought.
So go watch 5 of his fights and talk to me after.
I've watched his fights. I watched his fights. I've absolutely watched his fights, and I saw him
Gary,
and he's very talented. But I don't see him doing anything technically, executing anything better than Tank Davis does. No way. Absolutely not.
That's an interesting debate.
The way Tank Davis counters the intelligence that he's showing in the ring at those times. I see Inoue Inoue overpowering dudes, and I see him throwing like good, like perfectly executed punches, but I don't see him doing it with
you
like
don't see the boxing ability.
I see him doing it as a reflex. I don't see him doing it as a thought, and there's a big difference there. You could see like when Davis slipped and threw that uppercut, knocked that kid out on the ropes.
Leo Santa Cruz.
Exactly.
And
when he went to the body against when he dropped what's his face with a body shot, those were thoughts.
Garcia, his name is.
Yes, Garcia. That was extremely intelligent craftsmanship.
Yeah.
When it came to like what he did, that's nothing that's not just a reflex. Like Inoue, someone will throw at him, and Inoue will come back and knock him out because he's powerful and he's fast. He's all those things. But there isn't like an overarching thought process to what he does. He just lets his hands go, and guys can't handle it. So
I'll say one thing, Ben, on that, my rebuttal.
Go on, your rebuttal. Let's do it.
great fighters make things look extremely easy.
Easy. No, listen, let me come in. Okay, I agree with Gary on this. For the sake of perspective, I think he misread where I was coming from about Tank. I do think very highly of him, but I think we had different definitions of elite, which we've since ironed out. I agree with Gary. Inoue has achieved a whole lot more right now, and I have to give him his props on that. I don't. When you say, Michael, what does he do? Execute better than Tank Davis?
About everything.
No,
I don't know about that.
Bring it.
That's
Tell
not
me
fair.
what he does. Tell me what he does better than Tank Davis.
I tell you what, I wish they were the same weight because he'd fucking destroy Tank.
He could still go as far as
that kid.
lightweight.
Have you seen Inoue show any defensive inclination or instinct? Tell me.
In a way, I have, yeah.
Yes.
In a way, what?
Michael,
What
it
did
makes
he
it
do?
look so easy because he's that good.
He's got great. He reminds me of Donald Curry.
Amazing fights. It's just
It
gifted.
doesn't matter. He may be like a stoic type fighter like Curry was, and very, very
Great
accurate,
distance.
and purposeful with his punches. But he doesn't show me any. He doesn't show me. I'm not saying, but obviously the kid is incredible. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, so that's our entry level.
Okay, yeah, but I don't see him doing anything better than Tank Davis does. Nothing. Absolutely not one thing. He punches hard, yes. Punching power is his overarching thing. And eventually you run into a person who you're not going to be able to get out there so easy.
What's the drug testing like in Japan?
You're going to have to rely on the skills and abilities at that point. And at that point, we're going to see what you do. Can
I tell you something interesting about his opponent, Neri? Neri, he failed to make the weight last time. He was banned from entering Japan at one point because he failed to make the weight for a 2018 fight with Yamanaka, Inoue's countryman. I think it's called Shinsuke Yamanaka for the WBC bantamweight title, which he was defending. First of all, he failed to make the weight, yeah, and the reason he had to give Yamanaka a rematch, Neri, was because the other time he was found to have tested positive for a banned steroid or a banned performance enhancing drug. The WBC refused to strip him of the title because they said it was ingested through the old Mexican meat. He's Mexican, right? They let that Julio Cesar Martinez off for the same reason. They said there's a lot of contaminated meat in Mexico. Canelo did get a ban. The other two, his compatriots, didn't. So this guy failed a drug test. Then he didn't make weight, and then knocked a guy out having not made the weight. Which meant he lost the WBC bantamweight title. He fights Inoue tomorrow for all the marbles at super bantamweight. But he has that MO, which is kind of topical right now, of not making weight and failing a drugs test. But he looks to me like he's right there to be hit. When it comes to predictions, I don't imagine any of us are going to pick against the Japanese guy, are we? And the more interesting debate becomes how good is Inoue, and Silk begs to differ with his other two co-anchors on this.
Let me ask you now, why is Tank fighting this guy with only 18 fights now? Or roughly about 18.
I have no idea. I've never heard of the kid. I didn't know he existed.
Like, what's that all about?
I knew he existed. But I guess, he's coming off.
What's his name? Gary, do you know?
Yeah.
Parton? Is it Parton?
Frank Martin.
Martin, yeah. Frank Martin.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think he's been slagging Clarissa Shields off too, because she said the Martin fight must not be selling, because she said because this M word is all bent out of shape and he'd be dissing everybody, that kind of thing. And
who's been dissing everybody?
Tank, because Tank's sticking up for Garcia too.
Why is Tank like what I like about Garcia, as much as is he fights Haney, he fights Tank, who else next? They'll fight someone else. He puts himself in the fire. Like, who's Tank fighting?
It's only been recent.
But who's
when you talk about but here's the thing, though.
Fighting? He's had quite a lot of fights. Who's he fighting? Michael, tell me.
But you decided he was an elite opponent on Garcia's record.
Before Davis, who was he fighting?
No, let me ask you. Forget Garcia. I'm asking Tank. Who's he fighting? Now he's got
when you were bigging up Garcia, one of the people you bigged him up for was fighting Tank. You said he fought Davis. Who's the other guy fought? Well, Davis is Davis. That's the
no. I'm saying, who is Davis fighting?
Well, you said he's fighting.
Why is he not? Why? There's a saying, "Dare to be great." You want the respect? Go earn it.
Yeah, but the game is different.
These like Frank Martin, who no one's ever heard of.
No one's ever heard of him, but from what I understand, he's undefeated.
Tell you about how great you are. Go and beat
But is he undefeated?
Go beat Jared Ennis. Go and beat someone who can just fight somebody.
You can't put Tank in with Jared Ennis. That's
I
not
know,
fair.
but I'm just saying, find someone who's
Although
got a
size don't
name.
matter.
I'm saying, find a guy who's really on the up and up, who everyone's talking about. Do it.
Yeah, I think it's time Tank was let off the leash. He had that breakout fight against Garcia, which was a big commercial fight.
And then he should have gone flu, and now he's gone back 10 steps.
Yeah,
Well, I think he just wants to stay. I think he wants.
Whereas
to stay
Inoue has just collected belt after belt from light flyweight upwards. So I don't think you can. Is this fair compared to Gervonta Davis with Inoue right now? Because his CV is a lot better.
Guys with like 3 pounds between their divisions, and at any given day they're weighing 126 featherweight anyway. Come on.
Yeah, but Inoue is going up fighting everybody he can get his hands on. Tank is what's he fighting?
So it's pretty impressive the weight spread that he's done in Inoue.
Yeah, you know what? I don't place that much on weight like you guys do.
I know you don't. You don't. I know that I've said it before. Your thing is you legitimately perceive that something is overstated or overrated, and then because you've decided that, you decide that it literally doesn't exist. That's why there's no such thing as a reach advantage. There's no such thing as a weight advantage. That's what you believe, and that's.
I don't believe there's such thing as a weight advantage. Definitely not if it's 5 pounds or 3 pounds. No, I don't think it's a weight advantage at all.
It's a weight advantage if you can't make the weight. I'll give you an example. It's a weight advantage if you're dead at the weight and you don't lose the weight. Like Garcia did. If the weight kills him and it doesn't at 3 pounds, it's a massive advantage. So, and if the weight kills Haney, it's a massive advantage if one of them makes it.
But the thing is, the weight wasn't. It certainly isn't killing Inoue, and nor the guys he's fighting. So
you know something. Some people have suggested that he's not keen to stray outside of Japan, although he has fought outside Japan, because some people are a bit suspicious about his ability to carry his power up several divisions, and some people are saying perhaps the pharmaceutical testing isn't quite as stringent in Japan. I mean, there's no substance to it particularly, other than same as Manny Pacquiao. There was always a suspicion throughout his career. Some people play that card with Inoue or the rumor.
I tell you what, I was around.
You know what? But while you're on that point exactly, and it's the same thing with Floyd Mayweather. He fought very comfortable climbs the whole time. He would never fight outside of Las Vegas, which was literally basically his hometown. Yeah. He knows everything goes the way he wants it to go in his home.
Well, they let him take the injections for his hands that they'd abandoned.
It's always he always has the home field advantage. And that's not what fighters are supposed to do. Whether you fight in Japan, Africa, New Zealand, England, whatever it is, this is what the world champion does. You fight on.
Well, no, they don't. It's what they should do. It's not what they do.
Well, that's what they did, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Ali did it anyway.
And that's what qualifies you.
Joe Louis never really fought outside the US.
That's why in leagues they have home field advantage. There are advantages in being at home. To always put yourself into the advantageous position, even that alone is like fixing a fight. It's a part of it anyway.
Yeah. It's like Ricky Hatton out of the MEM for years.
Sorry?
You know, they couldn't get Ricky Hatton out of the Manchester Arena for a lot of time. He had the same referee every time. Mickey
exactly.
Mann. Remember that, Gary?
Yeah. And that kind of thing is what's discomfort is a major part of boxing and a major part of athletics, especially aggressive athletics. And certain things can take you off. But if you've got everything set up so everything's perfect for you, hey, listen, I don't know. I don't think you qualify. You qualify as being the same type of champion.
But okay, but
it might be semantics. I don't know.
But to take your earlier argument, Tank Davis has fought in this has not fought. Well, he fought in London actually. To be fair, I see him actually.
He fought in London, but even then, he fought in LA. He fought in New York. He fought in Vegas.
He didn't just stay in the same town. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah, it's not
looking at Tank's early record.
Floyd Mayweather comes in and he goes into the room with the same athletic commission. The same commissioner, the same referees, the same judges every single time.
Let me just educate you on something still. So unlike someone like Lomachenko, Tank turned professional. I'll give you the records of his professional people he fought. First fight, he fought a guy 0 wins, 4 losses. Second fight, 4 wins, 7 losses. Third fight, 1-1. Fourth fight, 2 wins, 8 losses. Third fight, sixth fight, 3 wins, 9 losses. Then he fought a guy in his pro debut. Then he fought a guy 47 wins, 31 losses. Then he fought a guy 2 wins, 4 losses. Then he got a guy 5 wins, 3 losses. Then he got a guy 8 wins, 1 loss. Then he fought a guy 40 wins, 18 losses. Then he fought a guy 17, 4 losses. Then he fought a guy 15, 5 losses. Then he fought a guy 18 losses. This is the record Tank has got as his elite fighter. Well, just so you know.
Yeah, okay. And you were going to say about
just so you know, that's all. So let's take away his record of 29-0, and let's say really he's fought 10-0 and 19 stiffs. That's what I'm saying.
We could say that about Canelo. We could take maybe 30 away.
No, but what I'm saying is, it's like, come on. All I'm saying is prove your point.
Well, my point is, when you said I don't think he's elite, my absolute reaction was no, he's elite. Trust me. Don't you worry about that. Tank Davis is an elite fighter. I'll stand by that. But you say Inoue is more elite. I say yes right now. Yeah.
They made a big deal when he beat Ronaldo Romero, who just got smashed again by Isaac Cruz.
But he got smashed first by one guy, and then he got smashed by the next guy. Okay.
Right. Every time he stepped up, he got smashed. So Tank. Okay.
Leo Santa Cruz was a great win for Davis. Yep. That was an elite fighter who beat Carl Frampton. Yeah, there's another one. So he's
who was the other kid? The Cuban kid.
Yuriorkis Gamboa, but he was a little bit past noon when he beat him.
So really, he's only fought Cruz, a good win. Ryan Garcia, a decent win.
But you know, we can go over anywhere.
Jose Pedraza was a decent win. Jose Pedraza.
He's had a few decent wins, but he's not.
We can cherry pick on every single fighter's record and say, well, this is what was happening at this time.
Oh, no, when we're talking about elite, is what I'm talking about. When you get Ray Leonard and the elite, that's
never mind the historical. We're only talking now. Forget the greats of the past.
We're talking about Leonard, and he's had.
We're not talking about them at all. Otherwise, everybody gets pissed on today.
I understand, but I'm saying like if he's fought, 10 undefeated fighters and knocked them all out, who all have amazing records, great. But he's fought very average.
Here's the thing: I would back him. Not that I'm a,
I rate him as a
fighter, but I would back him against any of the other guys that he's likely to fight, and I would back him against Shakur Stevenson as well, and Teofimo Lopez or anybody.
So how do you feel about that, Gary? Do you think he would beat those guys or no? Do you think Tank would beat them?
My money would be on him.
I will go to that when it comes on, and I will make.
Yeah, and he'll get it right, and we'll get it wrong.
Come on now, let's go. Come on.
I will when the time is when it matters.
I think we know how he feels.
I'm not backing myself in a corner, Sean. At all.
No, Sean, you're absolutely right, Sean.
No, I'm not. I'm saying I will make the bet when the fight comes, and
his record is good. Let's be fair.
What about your opinion? Never mind the bet. Never mind the bet. What about your opinion against those guys?
Again, if he beats Shakur Stevenson, right? Who has Shakur beat yet? I know he's good, but who?
Well, true, exactly, but
as far as Teofimo Lopez been beat. I just want him to fight and I understand there's no one for Tank to really prove yet, and I understand that, but I just say that's fine. Tank's done everything that's been put in front of him. Great respect for him, amazing fighter, great punching power, very smart, but respectfully, talk like you're Sugar Ray Leonard. You're not yet. You may prove me wrong. You may not even going to prove me wrong. You may become one of the greats, but don't talk like you're one of the greats now when you're not.
I've not really heard him say much.
Yeah, he doesn't say much at all. He's hardly abrasive.
And do you know what he did say, Gary? He said the fighters of the past were better than the guys today. He said some of those guys.
He keeps saying he wants to knock out Floyd, and it's no respect. Like when you say knock out Floyd, bring Floyd 10 years.
Him and Floyd have got a beef. They don't like each other now. They've fallen out.
That disqualifies a lot. But
have you heard that Floyd Mayweather's stuck in Dubai? By the way,
I heard that he owes money and he's stuck. But again, it's internet, right?
Somebody supposedly took off with some something very expensive that was with Floyd's camp, and they want him to come and bring it back. So they're holding Floyd as hostage
Is that what
until
you
the
heard?
guy brings the goods back.
That's not what I heard. Did you
Yeah.
hear that? Yeah.
That's what I heard.
That may be inside info, but I heard he owed money, and I don't know how, but they won't. And it's
I
a very
heard he agreed to put on an exhibition and he got paid for it, and he hasn't done it.
I haven't heard that.
And I heard Marianne Lurie Owen told me. I hope she don't mind me saying this. She told me that it was actually an unpaid jewelry bill. So that's 3 different stories I've heard.
Yeah.
the one thing I do know is
It's probably all 3.
well, I know that in that neck of the woods, they're very stingent upon death.
Oh, sure.
Debts,
Yeah, they don't
yeah.
play. They do not.
You know, in Dubai, you get fined if you put your washing outside the hotel, like so people can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right and
You
all.
mean,
It's an
you in
eyesore.
your apartment or the whole? Why would you do that in a hotel anyway?
Yeah.
No, if you was in a hotel or an apartment, you put your washing on the patio, you get fined. Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You know what, Carl Gustav, we actually answered that at the start of the show. I think we'd be going over it again but we don't feel he probably is past his prime, but we don't feel he's on the way down. We don't feel he's radically declined just yet. That was the consensus when we discussed it earlier.
Yeah, I think he's levitating. He's at a very competitive level still. I mean, obviously he's beyond.
Let me ask you this question: the Benavides fight next is at light heavyweight, right?
We're against Vorjik, yeah.
Now
Vorjik.
let me
Who's
ask you:
Vorjik?
who's Vorjik,
I'll
Ben?
Vorjik is a guy that fought Beterbiev way back in 2019, I believe it was. It could have been 18 even. He was a champion. He was trained by Teddy Atlas, your favourite mentor, Gary. And he's a pretty good fighter. He lost a unification fight, not an undisputed fight, but a unification fight to Beterbiev back in 2018, I believe it was, actually.
Wow.
He got stopped about the 10th round, something like that, 9th or 10th round. But Vorjik is a good fighter. He's a former world champion, and he was trained by Teddy Atlas. And he and David Benavides will be fighting for some bogus nonsense interim. I think it's the WBC interim title, which, you know, try and get Iceman John Scully started on that one, who was actually part of Beterbiev's camp. But yeah, they've attached like a.
I think we haven't paid homage to. Well, we haven't really talked about what one of the biggest things that's happened in boxing, and that's the Beterbiev, you know, the fight being canceled.
Sorry, yeah. So we didn't mention it. Perhaps we should.
What happened?
Did you not hear, Gary? The fight's been postponed. It's not happening on June the 1st.
Why?
But because he's got a meniscus injury, a knee injury. That was he pulled out. I think it was Saturday morning. We found out. I think.
Yeah, I asked John myself. I was like, "What was the reason?" He did not state it was a meniscus injury. So that makes me right away a little bit skeptical that that's what it was.
Seriously,
he would have said, "Listen, he has a knee injury, right?"
You'd think he would, but maybe he wasn't there at the time because he was due to be in Saudi Arabia this weekend. They were all going to be. Maybe that's when he was going to hook up with the team. Maybe.
Yeah, we're going to have to put the spotlight on Scully.
We are, you know, because. But in any case, Gary, it's off, and they're going to go ahead with the 5 versus 5 on June the 1st, which is still a good card. It's not as mouthwatering as it was when they had them tied together, but you've still got Wilder and Zhang.
That was actually the best fight in boxing, as far as I'm concerned.
Are they going to fight on it, or are they just going to leave 5 and 5?
They're gonna have 5 and 5 on the original date, June the 1st, and they're gonna have to reschedule Beterbiev versus Bivol.
Originally, was Beterbiev on the 5 and 5 event?
That was the same thing. Yeah, they were doing that. It wasn't part of 5 and 5.
It was the main event.
They had Beterbiev versus Bivol and 5 and 5 as a fucking bonus. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, do you think they'll put another super fight or not?
No.
No.
Oh no. But there's talk of. The 5 versus 5 stands on its own. You've still got Wilder and Zhang.
Yeah,
you know,
great fight. Yeah.
But what has been said is that Bivol may fight a substitute on the show just to stay busy in a world title fight. So you're not sure if it's a knee injury. Look, one thing is for sure: if it was Fury, there'd be all manner of things people would be saying about him.
Yeah, no,
he wouldn't be allowed just to have a knee injury, would he? Fury, his knee is not that believable or credible as the other guys, you know. Fury
so few because these guys are like dramaless. They're so without drama, and when you talk about Fury, he comes with a lot of drama. There's a lot of stuff. So you have to expect that, because when you
You live
talk
by
a
the
lot,
sword.
when you talk a lot, it's going to come back at you. So you can't
Yeah.
have it one way and then expect everyone to respect everything you say when it comes back. When it's your turn to be under the spotlight like that, you're going to get the same thing you put out. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And
But
On that note, Ben,
I think so. In any case, we
Unless
still
you
see.
guys-
Look,
if you guys want to continue, I
Yeah.
will. I
Yeah.
will leave you.
you're not. Hey, listen, I have things to do too. I'm like,
yeah, we're going to close it now. We're going to close it now.
yeah, we're
Oh,
Ben. We're important too, aren't we?
absolutely.
Yeah, I forgot that Silk is going to go and masturbate to tank videos.
He's going to have a tank, as they say.
He's going to have a tank. Yeah.
Is that what they call it? Oh my God, where did that
Well,
term come
it's
from?
rhyming slang, Silk. It's rhyming
He's going
slang.
to have a Sherman tank.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a good thing I don't understand what you guys are saying in Liverpudlian lingo.
What's the difference between an egg and a wank?
You're talking
You
existential.
can beat an egg.
You can beat an egg.
Oh,
Is that it?
I thought it was something existential you were saying.
Yeah. He's got. Yeah, he's exasperating sometimes. You know that. But, listen, guys, thank you for tuning in. You've got Inoue tomorrow. If you're in the UK, you're lucky. You get to watch it at lunchtime. I'll send you guys a stream as always. Are we allowed to say that? Is it illegal? I think it is. Yes. No,
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never received any illegal stream from you.
You've been tarred by the same brush, and there was no slur intended with that description.
You're cutting it close.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for following us on Sugar, Silk and Stretch. We hope that you enjoy this kind of willful mess of a show. We're still the best out there, with the chemistry that explodes all over the screen every week, twice a week. Keep staying with us, keep liking, keep supporting, subscribe if you haven't done already. We'll be back next week. Peace out.
Thank you.
Show me the elite, Ben. Show me the elite.
All right.